All right, welcome to Pints of Interest. We have another great episode for you today. We're doing from a beer from a brewery that we have come to absolutely love. A lot of the beers that they do, it's Alesmith. I was able to get a hold of their barley wine. It's called Numbskull.
Old Numbskull.
Old Numbskull, thank you. Very good. This is a beer that has won a number of awards. We'll show the what awards it has won below here. Alesmith does the wonderful thing of letting you know what serving temperature and what glass to use for this particular beer, so that is exactly what we're going to do. They recommend serving this around 50 degrees and in a tall glass, so bam, got that done. I paid $14.95 for this. Again, this is going to be a little bit higher for us because this is an unusual beer to get, so it comes at a premium. You can probably get this for $11-12 bucks out actually at Alesmith. It's available year-round, and the ABV of this is 11%. Yep, that typical kind of, I always associate the color of barley wines with like caramel, off-white, slightly tan head on it. I definitely want to get the lacing in there. It's, wow, it's trying to get out of the glass. It's clinging so hard. So really thick and syrupy. We are going to do the aroma first. The nose of this, especially out of the tulip glass here, I mean, it's pretty in your face. Some alcohol to it, kind of a typical barley wine. If you had a barley wine before and smelled that really caramely, malty, sugary aroma,
yeah, you almost think
it's that big time.
It doesn't have the maple quality, but it's almost like that kind of syrup.
Maybe a little bit of that fruit, appley.
That's what I was saying, like golden raisin instead of a...
Smells, yeah, maybe along those lines, but it's just that sweetness just kind of reminds you of like a fruity sweetness. All right, so on to the taste of this one. Very surprising.
Oh yes,
very surprising.
There's a bit of caramel malt in the beginning, but the ending, it's actually a quick finish, and it has some hop to it. Yeah. Not quite as much as an IPA, but towards that direction, and I did not expect that at all.
It's doing it in a real American barley wine style, where it's a little bit more hopped, and they bring more bitterness in to, I think, raise up the IBUs and bring down that kind of cloying sweetness that sometimes can happen with.
It balances it out very well
the barley wines, and this one does not do that. It has a really nice, like the beginning, like you get that, like, oh man, is this going to be sweet? You get that kind of real caramel at first note, and then kind of mellows out a little bit, and then kind of hits this hop note. It's a nice hop bitterness. There's some warmth, definitely the back of the throat. Got some of the alcohol warmth to it. It hides the 11% pretty well, but not entirely. You're definitely, you know, you're drinking something warm.
It ain't a 5.
You're feeling
it ain't a 5.
Your throat's warm from it. It's coated quite nicely, and but it has that hoppy quality to it quite a bit.
Yeah, it really is a nice counterbalance to the initial sweet, and makes it so that you could keep drinking it.
Absolutely. It's not sticky. It doesn't overstay its welcome. Doesn't hang on too much at the end with the sweetness and that caramel and the richness. It's got a rich flavor that's there. It lets you taste it, and then just kind of backs off, lets the hops kind of come forward on it, features that nicely, and then just kind of finishes out. And like you said, it makes you want to drink it again.
I agree completely. Drinkable and very pleasant and
very enjoyable. I think that's definitely a good word. The drinkability of this thing is pretty damn high. At 11%. That's one thing that I've noticed with Alesmith is they take a lot of their higher alcohol beers, allow it to give you that rich, heavy mouthfeel that you want, but don't allow it to weigh the beer down in its flavors, and its overall composition and body isn't overly heavy.
And it's kind of funny too, because I would be willing to bet a barley wine purist would probably be upset because of that hop that's not supposed to be there.
Yeah, it's definitely not traditional. I could see where people who might score this a little bit lower really want that sticky, syrupy barley wine, caramel kind of backbone to it, and just want to get punched in the face with the barley wine, because that's why they're having it. They want this really intense beer, and this isn't that intense. So, how do we feel about this beer overall? I'm just going to start with Tom's stuff.
I really like this one. Everything that we've said about it already, it makes it, I think, higher in regard for myself than Founder's one, and I'm a big fan of Founders. So
Are you basically saying this is your favorite barley wine to this?
I would think that this. Yes, I would saying that this is my
There you
favorite barley
go.
wine.
All right, so I
today,
think that would that give it almost a highly recommended from you as far as the style is concerned.
Well, again, I don't have that much experience with barley wines, but yes, I would highly
I
recommend.
mean, you
this
only
one.
know what you like.
Yeah.
So, yeah, as far as barley wine's concerned, absolutely is something that we're kind of getting into. I've had a number of them. This does things that all the other barley wines and some really good barley wines that I've had don't do. And that hop that it does and just the way that it handles itself, absolutely recommended to the highly recommended stage. I think this is a fantastic barley wine. Alesmith has pretty much done it again. One of the top brewers out there, one of our out of nowhere absolute favorites.
Yeah.
I don't know how much Alesmith really gets talked about in the craft beer community because it really needs to be talked about more.
Yeah, there's not much more I can add to that. Just the subtlety and balance and the way everything comes together, the way that they have the traditional barley wine elements, but they make it better, is pretty amazing.
All right, so I think that's going to be highly recommended from us. We did have this out of a snifter. Pretty amazing difference between the tulip and the snifter. Now the snifter is traditionally what you're going to have a barley wine out of. Don't do it.
Not for this one.
For this one, do not do it. Follow the recommendation. The tulip is the way to go. Absolutely. Like the hop notes really are enhanced in this, where the snifter just kills it.
Yeah.
There's very, very little hop that you get. That hop bitterness goes away to just this kind of dull, limp finish because it doesn't have that caramely, alcoholed finish that some barley wines have that kind of stays with you. After you drank it there, it just kind of dries up, goes away, and you're like, okay, I just drank something, it's all right. I'm kind of curious if some people who didn't rate it so well had it out of a snifter.
Yeah.
And we're just like, okay, that was
just
a barley wine.
pint glass because that's all they had.
Or that's all they had. Absolutely, this is a beer that glassware makes a massive difference. One of the most ridiculously different tasting beers out of a beer glass I think we've ever had.
Yeah.
And we've definitely been always trying the different beer glasses to see what's the optimum thing. And
So basically
tulip
what we're
glass
saying
is
is-
optimum. Listen to the bottle. So for Alesmith's Old Numbskull, mwah, and Pints of Interest, cheers.
Cheers.
For more beer reviews and episodes, you can go to pintsofinterest.net, on Facebook at facebook.com/pintsofinterest. You can also follow us on Twitter at Pints of Interest for 140 character beer reviews.